You're watching BionicDance. Don't run on automatic, instead, please think.
I want to talk just a few moments about the issue of God and morality, because I think the arguments that Christians have offered in favor of God based on the existence of morality have been misunderstood, principally by atheists, but also by some Christians, okay?
Naturally, of course, the only way to not agree is to not understand. It can't possibly be that he's wrong, or batcrap crazy. Let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers, BionicDance here. So we don't understand the concepts of God and morality. Okay, let's hear him out. It's been a while since I've heard a new argument. Let's see if Gregwald the Barbarian here can deliver.
Here's the way the argument goes. If there is no God, there is no objective morality. But there is objective morality. That would be evidenced by the problem of evil. Therefore, there must be a God.
Wow, so much wrong with this statement. First of all, even with a God, there wouldn't be objective morality. By its very nature, morality cannot be objective. Morality is an opinion on proper and improper behavior. It doesn't matter how vehement a God might be or how they might stamp their feet. Even a God's moral code is a subjective perspective. At most, morality is normative, not objective, meaning that it's the most widely accepted cultural standard, created by people and what they subjectively deem best. Furthermore, the problem of evil has not a damn thing to do with objective morality, and it doesn't prove a God exists. It only proves the Christian God doesn't exist. You know, the God that's supposed to be all-caring and all-powerful, yet under whose stewardship we find great suffering which is never prevented, thus showing that, if a God does exist, then he, she, it, or they are, if not non-existent, then at best indifferent. If Christians admitted that their God could foul up once in a while, the problem of evil stops being a problem. Either way, the problem of evil does not require an objective standard to be a valid argument, and it certainly does not prove the existence of objective morality.
Now, there's a lot I could say about this, but let me address myself specifically to the confusion, because atheists are quick to object that you're saying I can't be moral if I don't believe in God.
Actually, the objection is usually regarding the claim that God, and only God, gets to set the standard, and we don't get to disagree. At least, not without the threat of eternal punishment anyway. The objection is that many of the morals that theists claim must be so are actually thinly veiled excuses to treat other people like crap, and that many of the rules we're told to follow are against actions, or even thoughts, which would harm nobody if violated. And the objection is that we don't need a God to treat other people with kindness and respect. All we need is empathy, no God required.
Our point is, if there is no God, morality has no meaning.
Huh? How do we reach that conclusion? It may sound silly, but what does it mean for morality to have meaning? What's required? If I see someone collapse and fall unconscious, and I'm the only one around to see it, so I call an ambulance with my cell phone, because I know I'd want someone to do that for me, which is why I'm pretty sure it's the right thing to do, I have a feeling that that moral impulse that I've felt will have meaning to that person, and it would have meaning to me if our roles were reversed. Again, no God required. So what does it mean that morality can't have meaning without God? That statement makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
And the quickest way I can get to that point is to offer a challenge offered by the late Christopher Hitchens, one of the new atheists. And he said, tell me one good thing that you can do as a theist that I can't do as an atheist. That's a fair charge. But notice how it focuses on behavior. Can he do the same behaviors that we do? The answer is yes, he can. That's not the issue. The issue is whether the behaviors are good or not without God.
So then the question becomes how we can distinguish good from bad or good from evil. How is that judgment made? And why is one judgment more valid than any other? If the Christian answer is anything other than because God said so, I've never heard it. I've also never heard them acknowledge and understand why that answer would be unacceptable to a non-believer, that they'd have to first prove a God is real before such a being's proclamation should even be considered, much less obeyed. And if God can say so, then anybody can say so and have it be just as valid, because say so is a personal opinion or perspective on what should be, nothing more or less.
So let me offer another illustration. I'll use Christopher Hitchens. What if Christopher Hitchens said, I don't believe in writers? And I said, well, if you don't believe in writers, then how can you read? And he says, I can read anything just as good as you can read, maybe even better. Well, you see, the point isn't who can do the behavior more effectively. The point would be whether there's anything to read without writers.
First, I doubt Hitch's grammar would be that atrocious. He could read just as well as you can. Also, this is a horrible analogy. See, if someone writes something, you can fucking well see it. Writing is, by its very nature, a physical thing. You can prove that writing exists. Now, when you can do the same thing with a god, or show the objective and empirical existence of morality, beyond the processes going on in our head meats, that is, this analogy might be apt, but it's not. Apples and oranges.
Now, this is called the grounding problem. What makes morality possible? What does it sit on, so to speak? Reading depends on writing. Writing depends on writers. That's the grounding problem with reading. Morality, being good, depends on there being morals, moral laws, and moral laws require a moral law maker.
Well, here's a wacky idea. Maybe morals aren't laws. But let's suppose they are. Why aren't humans the lawgivers here? You look at every other law which addresses human behavior, they've been written by humans. And where do those laws come from? We made them up. Why? To make our existence more pleasant and free from harm. If you don't hurt me, I won't hurt you, and we'll enjoy life a lot more because of it. No God required to figure that one out.
If there is a moral lawmaker, then there are moral laws, and both the Christian and the atheist can do good things regardless of their beliefs.
And if the God giving these laws isn't the Christian God, what then? What if you're good, or your God's good, and that God's good are at odds? And the question isn't just about what's good. We also have to ask what constitutes misbehavior, because that's actually where a lot of the disagreement comes from, because much of what is considered wrong by religions, and not just Christianity, are things which harm nobody, make nobody else's life worse as a result. Don't work on this day, don't wear that clothing, don't eat that food, don't fall in love with that person, and so on. It gets pretty stupid, honestly.
But if there is no God, then there are no morals, then there are no good things. You can still do the same behaviors, but they're not good.
Let's leave aside how positively idiotic this statement is, and it is idiotic, and ask the question, so what? Who cares? I don't care. Whether it's God's good or not, my life is made better by it, and so is yours. That's all that really matters. And, dare I say it, no God required. And really, we're just staring down the barrel of a semantic argument. Even if we grant that it's not good because it's not all Godified, then what is it? This behavior has a positive effect on people's lives. Most people would call that good, God or no God. I'm gonna call it Flügelschnasen, which is definitely not a German word I just made up, and certainly doesn't mean nose like a bassoon. In English, it translates as behavior which most people consider pretty darned nifty. So, Greg Knack the Barbarian here has his God good, and the rest of us rational people have our Flügelschnasen. Problem solved? Problem solved. Right, before I go, I've got another thank you. If you haven't been able to figure it out from this t-shirt, I've been on a bit of a Fallout 4 jag. I absolutely love that game, and I could do a whole video on why I find the post-apocalypse genre compelling. But point being, I've been playing a lot of it, and put a whole bunch of Fallout stuff onto my Amazon wishlist, and one of you sent me this. It's a Vault-Tec t-shirt. If you don't know what Vault-Tec is, well, you need to play the Fallout series. So, special thank you to Ukonen Koyura, who I'm pretty sure sent me a gift a little while ago. So, that's awesome. Oh, wait a minute. There's actually something here. I did get the name right last time, but apparently it's Finnish and not Japanese, and it translates to Thunderdog, which is your dog's registered name on the internet. Cool. Okay. Actually, it's funny you mentioned Finnish. There are some, Finnish metal bands I've actually started to enjoy. It's a little odd, but, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just hard to encounter Finnish music here in the United States. Anyway, thank you very much for the t-shirt. I absolutely love it. And until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please think. And the question isn't just about what's good. We also have to ask what constitutes misbehavior. And that's actually where a lot of the disagreement becomes... Oh, fuck. That was almost a blooper-free video. Damn it! Captain's log. We are investigating an asteroid field where we've had reports of strange signals. So far we've found nothing, but our reconnaissance continues.
Captain, unidentified object approaching.
Scan object.
Aye, scanning object.
Captain, the object appears to be bombarding us with Patreon particles.
Is there any damage?
None. In fact, it seems to be giving us even more strength.
Fascinating. It seems that Patreon beams are a benefit to our mission. We must seek out more Patreonic life forms. Plot course and prepare to engage Bionic Drive. Not rating and subscribing has been found to cause obesity, acne, and male pattern baldness in laboratory rats.
Yeah, whatever.
Don't let this happen to you. Be sure to rate and subscribe.